Hello there. This is Being God's Obedient Servant channel. And today's lesson, we're doing Psalms chapters 57 through 60. Pretty straightforward reading. We do get to see, once again, differences between Old Testament and New Testament here, being under the law versus grace. So it is always good to see stuff like that. That way we can always see how much better it is under what we have today versus what it used to be. If you're new to this, you just click on this. It's a Bible study channel where I go through the King James Bible, book by book, chapter by chapter, and verse by verse as God commands it to be. Not really saying that you have to learn it in order or study it in order, but we are to teach all of the Word. That means we're to learn all of the Word. But we're going to jump right on in here and get started. Chapter 57, verse 1 of Psalms. Be merciful unto me, O God, be merciful unto me, for my soul trusteth in thee. Yea, in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge until these calamities be overpast. Now, the one thing a little wrong here is when he says, in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge until these calamities be overpast. Now, of course, we know, that means that until these problems go away, I will let you, cover me. For God is supposed to lead us all the time. Not just when we have problems, also when we don't have problems. And so we have to remember, though, in Old Testament, it was, I've talked about this before, where it's like it was kind of like a reward system. And they all kind of believed this. If you had a good life, money, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, an easy life, you're a godly person. If you had a hard life, you are not godly. Even though for Old Testament and New Testament, it's been proven false. But this was still commonly taught in that manner. So, if you had any problems, you call upon God, and if you're a righteous one, He'll fix them for you. And that's the beauty of being under grace. God's always trying to fix our problems, even the problems we don't know about. And a lot of times we get a little ungrateful because the things we want fixed doesn't get fixed. And there's so many things that God took care of we don't even know happened, that were happening. And God kept us from it. So this is why, even in bad times, in good times, or in different times, we're always to be thankful. We're to give God thanks for everything in life. And it's a little hard sometimes for us to remember to do that, especially when bad things starts happening. But when bad things start happening and we get through them, we're normally a better Christian for that. So that's what we're thankful for, is to listen. Let's continue on, verse 2. I will cry unto God Most High, unto God that performeth all things for me. He shall send from heaven and save me, save from the reproach of him that would swallow me up. Selah. God shall send forth his mercy and his truth. My soul is among lions, and I lie even among them that are set on fire, even the sons of men, whose teeth are spears and arrows, and their tongue a sharp sword. Be thou exalted, O God, above the heavens. Let thy glory be above all the earth. They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They have digged a pit before me, into the midst whereof they are fallen themselves. Selah. My heart is fixed, O God, my heart is fixed. I will sing and give praise. Awake up, my glory, awake, psaltery and harp. I myself will awake early. I will praise thee, O Lord, among the people. I will sing unto thee among the nations. For thy mercy is great unto the heavens, and thy truth unto the clouds. Be thou exalted, O God, above the heavens. Let thy glory be above all the earth. Which, of course, we know God's glory is above all the earth. It always kind of baffles me sometimes when you read some of these where it's like, I don't think God needs your permission, but you know, it's supposed to be, you know, one that's accepting God's reign over their life, which we're all to do. But I said just the way some of it's worded sometimes. You know, but yeah, it just kind of makes me giggle. It's like, you know, God can make life, destroy life. He made the earth. He spoke the universe into existence, and he can just take it all away if he wants to. And we tend to forget that the Creator can also destroy. That's why Jesus always says, do not worry about the ones that can kill the body. Worry about the one that can kill the soul and the body. And that's one thing we always keep in mind, because the new teachings that they try to do in churches that Jesus is love. It's like, yeah, Jesus is love, but also he's wrath. Jesus is God. God is Jesus. They're kind of like separate but the same at the same time, with the Holy Spirit in there, the Trinity. And of course, as humans, we can't wrap our heads around that. It kind of doesn't make sense, but, you know, God doesn't live in our world. I mean, he is the one and only living God, but, you know, he's not under the same laws of physics and stuff that we are. But the one thing that they don't teach is God is also wrath. And that's one thing you do not want, is God's wrath upon you, because if you think life is hard while God's being merciful, imagine how hard life would be if he was a wrath over you. So yeah. Let's continue on here. Chapter 58. Do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Now, of course, here's the difference. He's talking about the people judging. We're not to do that no more. In many ways, they weren't really to do that in Old Testament times either. But it's know a tree by the fruit it bears. Old Testament and New Testament, this is the same thing. We are to judge in that way of, you know, is the congregation doing correctly as the Bible commands, as God commands. And that's what, you know, we're to do. That way it's like, it's when you see somebody going astray. When Jesus says he left the 99 who weren't sick and went after the one that was going back to the world. Save the one from going back to the lost. You know, turning back to the world. There's another little part in there that's, you know, everyone knows that's in the Bible, which clearly says you can turn back to the world and be lost again. So, if we don't see people in the congregation being worldly and we don't try to correct them, It ain't that we try to tell them how to live, but we do remind them, hey, goes against God's word. And it tells us automatically how they take that. If they start saying, you're not supposed to judge me, they clearly don't care what God says. Because a godly person, when you say, hey, the Bible speaks against that, and most people that want to follow God, they say, really? Please teach me more. I do not want to upset God. But those who want to try to call themselves Christians while being worldly, which God says it can't be, you will end up being a hypocrite. They'll always try to cut you down instead of admitting that they're doing wrong. But yeah. So that's always that fine line there about the judging part. But yeah, we're not to unjustly judge. So this is also mentioning that. It says, do ye judge uprightly, judge justly. So remember that as well. So this is Old Testament and New Testament, where this to be a just judge or do not judge unjustly falls into there. But let's continue on verse 2. Yea, in heart ye work wickedness, yea, weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. Of course, he's talking about sons of men, the people doing wrong on the earth. Verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming never so wisely. Break their teeth, O God, in their mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Lord. Now, if you don't really understand that little area there, it's people speaking wickedly. And, it's kind of like the cancel culture that's going on today where, someone says something about you and it destroys your life. Like the Me Too movement, the false allegations and stuff that was happening to men, which is still happening. Like even the corrupt family court, the woman saying that he's the father and they force him to pay child support even though DNA tests prove that he's not, stuff like that. These people just say things and it destroys people's lives, and that's what they're meaning, break their teeth. Pretty much, make their words no longer, vicious against godly people, against good people. But this is one of the ones that say we got a couple of them here where it's, King David is asking God to come in and harm the wicked. Now, of course, now we know we're under grace now, and we're to love thy neighbor and even love our enemies. So this is not for today. We're to pray more that their hearts get turned to the Lord instead of staying worldly. We're not to call for people's harm, even if they do us wrong. It's a hard thing. It's a hard pill to swallow on that, but we are commanded as Christians to live that way. Let's continue on. Verse 7. Let them melt away as waters which run continually when he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows. Let them be as cut in pieces. As a snail which melteth, let every one of them pass away, like the untimely birth of a woman, that they may not see the sun. Of course, that's calling for death, because a premature baby in those times was a death sentence normally for the baby. So the baby would never see daylight, stuff like that. That's what is happening here. It said we're not to be that way anymore, but you know what how we are today. But let's continue on verse 9. Before your pots can feel the thorns, he shall take them away as with a whirlwind, both living and in his wrath. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked. So that a man shall say, Verily, there is a reward for the righteous. Verily, he is a God that judgeth in the earth. As I said, we're under different rules today. So you can clearly see Old Testament times was quite brutal. And, you don't want to step out of bounds with God's words and stuff back then, because you may end up getting stoned to death. Even if you didn't mean to do it, doesn't matter. You could be stoned to death for sinning against God. Yeah. All it takes is somebody to hear you or see you doing wickedness, and boom, they turn you in. And I said this is what God said needed to happen so that society would stay clean from wickedness, so their society would be godly and prosper. Which now we're under difference, and our society is no longer prospering, our society is no longer godly. But we're to pray for them more than just, cast them out or harm them or whatever to get them out of our society. It's, as I said, it's a hard pill to swallow, because we know it's so much easier to fix a society if you can just get the wicked people out instead of trying to change their hearts, because the fact of the matter is there's a lot of wicked people out there. You can't change their hearts. They like wickedness. They've done it for so long. They enjoy it. It's a part of their whole personality in their life. But we're still to try to change them instead of, doing them harm. But once again, remember, we are allowed to defend ourselves. So, as long as they're not doing physical harm and, whatever. It's a different story then. But yeah, let's continue on. Chapter 59. Deliver me from mine enemies, O my God. Defend me from them that rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity, and save me from bloody men. For lo, they lie in wait for my soul. The mighty are gathered against me, not for my transgression, nor for my sin, O Lord. They run and prepare themselves without my fault. Awake to help me. And behold, thou therefore, O Lord God of hosts, the God of Israel, awake to visit all the heathen. Be not merciful to any wicked transgressors. Selah. Once again, of course, we're under different rules of that, but like I said, Old Testament times was quite brutal. And, well, I already just explained why, and everything that we've studied up until now, Let's continue on, verse 6. They return at evening to make a noise like a dog, and go round about the city. Behold, they belch out with their mouth. Swords are in their lips. For who say they doth hear? But thou, O Lord, shalt laugh at them. Thou shalt have all the heathen in derision. Because of his strength will I wait upon thee, for God is my defense. The God of my mercy shall prevent me. God shall let me see my desire upon mine enemies. Slay them not, lest my people forget. Scatter them by thy power, and bring them down, O Lord, our shield. For the sin of their mouth and the words of their lips, let them even be taken in their pride. And for cursing and lying which they speak, consume them in wrath. Consume them, that they may not be. Let them know that God ruleth in Jacob unto the ends of the earth. Selah. And at evening let them return, and let them make a noise like a dog, and go round about the city. Let them wander up and down for meat, and grudge if they be not satisfied. But I will sing of thy power, yea, I will sing aloud of thy mercy in the morning, for thou hast been my defense and my refuge in the day of my trouble. Unto thee, O my strength, will I sing, for God is my defense and the God of my mercy. And the final chapter for this lesson, chapter 60. O God, thou hast cast us off, thou hast scattered us, thou hast been displeased. O turn thyself to us again. Now I will say, like here in America, this one can speak to us a lot. We are scattered today. We are divided horribly. And like the saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall. You know, it's in our pledge of allegiance to America. It says, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're no longer a nation under God. And so we're now, divisible instead of indivisible. We've been divided. Our government has actually worked pretty well at doing this. Corporate America didn't help out none with their greed and lust of money. There's a difference between being a proper capitalist versus a greedy, corrupt one. A lot of them are now suffering. Of course, they got millions and stuff. They don't really suffer from it, but the people underneath them are going to, like the car industries. They're not selling cars because of their greed. The housing market's suffering. People with insurance is suffering, and it's everywhere. All the jobs, what jobs we do have are getting less. More and more layoffs. Less and less jobs in America, and more going to China. But it doesn't matter. People still ain't buying stuff from China because they don't have money to even do the necessities. That's what happens when we're divided and no longer under God. Our society will be destroyed, and God will let this happen so that it is to bring his people back to him. He built this nation. And if we don't keep following him, he'll let it go to ruin. Because if it's not underneath him, it's under Satan. If it's under Satan, it has to fail. But that's kind of like what this last psalm tonight is talking about a little bit. Let's continue on, verse 2. Thou hast made the earth to tremble, thou hast broken it. Heal the breaches thereof, for it shaketh. Thou hast showed thy people hard things. Thou hast made us to drink the wine of astonishment. Thou hast given a banner to them that fear thee, that it may be displayed because of the truth. Selah. That thy beloved may be delivered. Save with thy right hand and hear me. God hath spoken in his holiness. I will rejoice. I will divide Shechem and mete out the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, and Manasseh is mine. Ephraim also is the strength of mine head. Judah is my lawgiver. Moab is my washpot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Philistia triumpheth. thou because of me? Who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me unto Edom? Now, of course, you haven't got that. Most of these names are cities in their time. If you didn't know that already, but it makes more sense when you realize he's talking about locations. Continue on, verse 10. Wilt not thou, O God, which hast cast us off, and thou, O God, which didst not go out with our armies? Give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. Through God we shall do valiantly, for he it is that shall tread down our enemies. Tread down our enemies. Tread down. But the whole thing is, what happens whenever your government is your enemy, your neighbors? It was such an embarrassment of how you had so many people just gladly trying to turn in their neighbors who weren't wearing masks and stuff during the pandemic time. Like, oh, we just can't wait to turn people in. That's, that way, they attack their own neighbors, their own people, their own society. It's just thinking they might get some kudo points or something. It's so hard for people to trust anymore. I fall in that same category. I really don't trust anybody no more on earth. But loving somebody's soul and wanting them to get right for God has nothing to do with trusting them. And everyone else that knows what I'm talking about, they know what I'm talking about. For some people that haven't went through a lot of hard times dealing with people and stuff yet, you'll see. A lot of people you think that's going to be for you, they're going to let you down. They're going to be people you trust with your life, and those normally ones going to stab you in the back. If they think they can get ahead in life, they'll do it. Some people are going to be true. Through their whole lives, all the way to the bitter end, they'll stay true to you, but most won't. Not anymore. We are in dog-eat-dog world, and we're the dogs. It's scary, but yeah. If I do remember, that's the end of this lesson. And lo and behold, we're right here at the 30-minute mark. So, it didn't go over tonight. And, well, my intro was quite short, so as I said, most of the lessons, most of the chapters and the verses, they were pretty self-explanatory. And I hope you enjoyed this reading tonight. God's Word is, it's nice to hear. It's, without it, we're lost. That's what we have to remember. But, like I said, I'm going to keep this at the 30-minute mark. So, remember to pray. I say this all the time because I mean it. God commands us to pray. It's so he can keep a relationship with us. So I'm always going to remind us to pray. I have to remind myself. I forget a lot too. It's so easy to forget to talk to God when things are going good and only talk to him when things are going bad. Because we always want God to fix things, and then we just forget about saying hi. It messes me up sometimes. I'm always like, well, God, what can I tell you that you don't already know since you know everything? But it reminds me of that scene in Serenity. If you don't know the movie, it was like the ending story to the TV show Firefly. I loved that show and I loved that movie. Actually, I got them on Blu-ray. I still watch them. But in the end, they was fixing to fly away and stuff, and the captain, they had the girl, darn it, I forgot what they called her, but she could read minds. She can see see when things are happening. And either or, he said and goes, well, it's like I can tell you what I'm fixing to be doing, but you already know, don't you? She goes, yeah, but I still like to hear it. That's how God is. He knows what's going on. He knows what we're going to say, but he would still like to hear it from us. So that's why we still do it. But yeah, so remember to pray. We got to pray for the lost. We got to pray for this world. Things are wrapping up pretty rapidly. And there's so many lost. So many lost. And they don't realize how lost they are. They have no clue of the love of Christ. And a lot of them are fighting tooth and nail to stay away from it because they don't want to know. Those are the ones you're not going to be able to save. But that's not our job. That's God's business. Our job is to spread the gospel. So, if you like what I'm doing here and you think other people would like to hear it, you can share this. And, I said this is how God called me to do it. He may call you to spread the gospel a different way. So, but we are to follow God as he commands us to. We don't do things our way. We're supposed to do things his way. But yeah, I'm going to end this lesson here. I can jump down that rabbit trail and be on that for an hour by itself. And no, I'm going to keep this lesson a little short. Keep it into the 30-minute window. So until next time, God bless, good night, and goodbye.